Hey everybody, welcome to Workout Wednesday. This is Joe Cala with Auto Dealer University, and today we are going to talk about how we can focus on key areas in training and coaching perspectives to increase your team readiness, okay? So we want to help increase team readiness and get your people ready to sell vehicles, make deals, close deals. And even in finance, if you're working in there, or if you're in the internet department, or even on the drive, whatever it is, there's different things inside of what we're going to talk about today that in any area that you have the ability to make a deal, close a sale, whatever it may be, this will go directly to that area. So it doesn't matter what your position title is, but this will be able to definitely speak to you in that area. So we hope you guys are having a good beginning part of the month, man. Here we are in the beginning part. At the time that we're doing this, it's the 2nd of September, 2020. And for those who had a great month last month, congratulations. I know I talked to a couple dealer friends of mine who just had amazing, blow up, awesome months for August. Congratulations, guys. I'm so excited to hear of all the success that you guys are doing. And then also to those who maybe didn't hit their numbers, or maybe they didn't have maybe the better or best part of, success in August, and they kind of fell short. And there's some things that maybe they want to get back on track and relook and figure out how to get better. Well, look, here's the beauty of this business. It is a new month, and there are new goals, and there's new objectives, and there's new opportunities. And so this month here, you can't change what happened last month, but you can make a difference this month. And I always tell my guys, if you maximize today, the main focus of what you can do today, you put it all out there today, you give it everything you have today, then when you get to tomorrow, you do the same thing when tomorrow is today. And then you just put it out there. You give it everything you have. You don't leave anything, in reserve. You let it all out. And when you take care of each day, the month takes care of itself. And that's just how it works in this business. So again, guys, we're going to talk about key training and coaching perspectives to increase team readiness. And the one thing we're going to start with is one way to help create a team readiness for your people is to give them or make assessments part of your sales training. Okay, what does that mean? Make assessments part of your sales training. Well, another word for assessments is measurements or learning progress or evaluations. Okay, or appraisals, just like you appraise a car, right? We talked about this before. Make assessments or appraisals or evaluations part of your sales training. See, here's the problem. Dealerships often wait and cross their fingers and hope that their people end up, completing their training courses and check off the boxes to say, okay, they did their training for today. They did their training for today, and they don't ever do any assessment on how the training affected them and what their takeaway was, or how they can go ahead and implement what they just received in training in real life situations. Okay. Too often we let our people practice on our customers when in reality we shouldn't be practicing on our customers. Okay. When it's game time, we should be going into the game not with a practice mentality, but it is a game time mentality, and we're not going to practice anything on our customers. Okay. We're going to practice in the training room. We're going to practice at the desk. We're going to practice on the lot. We're going to practice online. We're going to practice on the phone. We're going to practice in all the areas that we need to. And what's happening is people are going onto the floor or going into positions unprepared, and they end up flopping right in front of buyers. Okay. They cost the company deals. They hurt brand reputation and the seller confidence, and they waste time on all parts of the parties, included on themselves, on the customer coming in for an experience, on the desking manager and the management team. And what we have to make sure we do is we don't practice on the people. We practice with one another. As a manager, as a trainer, you're working with them, and your focus is not just a completed course, a check mark on the box, but what did they take away? Can they perform these key sales activities to encourage better training engagement, knowledge retention, and sales readiness? Okay. Not just did they finish the course, did they complete the training? Okay, too many times it's just about completing the training and it's not about maximizing the opportunity in the training, okay, and how we can apply it while we're on the floor, while we're on the phone, while we're online, while we're in the lot, whatever it may be, okay? So implement training in a few different ways. Here's one way. Knowledge checks, okay, such as quizzes or tests each week, all right? It ensures that your reps master key concepts or maybe talking points that they can use during their presentations or walkarounds, okay? One thing to do if you're not doing it is have a weekly or even daily, quiz on specific makes and models within your inventory. You need to have good product knowledge, okay? I recently talked to a sales professional who is succeeding very well, doing over 25 cars a month consistently. And I asked them and said, look, now that you're doing this here for a little while and you're starting to have some good performance results, what is it that you feel is helping you achieve these good performance results? And this is what the person said. They said mindset. Okay, and I agree. This is great. Mindset is a huge part of this. Okay, but the other thing is product knowledge, knowing your inventory, okay, as well as working the phone and having the ability to work the phone properly, but also knowing the process. All right. And so it's important to understand that you need to have good product knowledge. All right. He said that was one of the keys of knowing and being able to perform at a high level. Knowing the product, knowing what it is, knowing what it has, knowing what it does, knowing the groupings of the packages and how they come on each trim level and each model and different things like that. Having the ability to speak very intelligently, articulating the proper words to communicate to our customer the key areas that may have importance and value and weight to help move the deal forward. There's nothing worse than having a conversation with the customer and the customer knows more than you do about the product. And all you're doing is saying, I don't know, let me check that out and I'll get you an answer for that. Oh, I'm not too sure. Let me check and I'll get you an answer for that. Oh, I'm not really too, positive about that or not. Maybe I'm not too sure. I'll go ahead and check and get you an answer on that. If you're constantly saying that, you need to improve your product knowledge, okay? Get to a point where you understand and know your product, okay? Knowledge check. Have quizzes, tests available. Ensure that your people can speak intelligently when it comes to having good product knowledge, okay? Simulation. This is another way we can implement training assessments, okay? Simulation could simply be a range of role plays, okay? Arranging on role plays on interacting with another sales professional within the organization, or a trainer or a manager or somebody that they can go ahead and go back and forth with in regards to what specific areas of communication are going to happen between a customer and them, and go ahead and play it out, role play it, okay? Walkarounds. Go ahead and simulate an actual walk around. Do walk around contests in your store if you have to, okay? Starting from the left side, driver's side, all the way around to the front, and then all the way down the other side to the back, and then butterflying the entire vehicle, making it look nice, have a good presentation, talk about key areas, and in that role play of a walk around, somebody is the customer, and then the salesperson will go ahead and do that walk around based off of that customer's hot buttons and different areas of importance and value, okay? So each time it'd be different. So these are great things to implement for training assessments, all right? Another one is observations. As a manager and as management, it's important to make sure that you take the initiative to spend the time. And now look, I get this. I understand that sometimes it feels like it's just you don't have the time to do this, but spend the time, invest the time in call reviews, how they sound on the phone, all right? How are your people talking to the customer? What are they saying? What are they not saying? And give coaching moments, okay? As well as lead responses. Go through and spot check lead responses that we're giving to our customers based off of them submitting a lead form in, or submitting a question or whatever it is that they have, and then utilize the responses that we're giving to our customer base based off of how we're interacting with them. All right? Coaching moments in the deal. If you're a manager and you're seeing them interact with a customer and you see that, they're saying certain things, customers are responding, they're proactive, they're active, reactive, all these different things are happening. Look at those coaching moments in the deal. Don't beat them up. Coach them, okay? Give them good takeaways, examples, and show them solutions and how to do it in a different way. Look, you said it this way and it created this result. Maybe if you said it this way, there'd be a different result that could bring us to this particular area, which can move the deal forward. Whatever it may be, test drives, all right? On observation, have them, go on a test drive and then look at what's going on these test drives, what's being said on test drives, what's not being said, what should be said, right? Presenting numbers. When you present the numbers, management, watch, observe, stand close by, see how they're presenting the numbers when they're coming up to the customer, what their body language looks like, what their appearance looks like. Do they look like they're falling asleep and they're just like going into zombie land, or are they wide open eyes? Are they with a smile? Are they greeting with a handshake and tilting their head, tilting their hand? What is it that they're doing? Give them coaching moments to help them improve what they're doing. And so they can get better. Okay. Negotiating. This is another observation when they're going back and forth with the customer, how they say, what they don't say. Okay. The pause effect, the silence, using silence as a tool for helping move the deal forward. Okay. So these are just some cool things that we can add right off the bat on making assessments part of our training. Okay. Another thing is examine win and loss moments. Okay. Examine win and loss moments. In other words, when we have a customer that comes into the showroom and doesn't buy, we have something in this business that we call save a deal. We have a save a deal meeting where we'll go ahead and we'll sit down with our salespeople and we'll start going through the different customers that were in the showroom, and we'd start looking at, okay, what is it that happened here? How come we didn't put the deal together? Were we short on trade? Were we too far apart on payment? Was it down payment? Was it we couldn't get them bought? Did they need a buyer? A co-buyer? Did they need did their co-signer need a co-signer? What did we need to do to make this come together? There's the save a deal moments, and there's those save a deal coaching times, and looking at, okay, that was a loss moment. We lost on that one. Okay. But what about the wins too? What about the sold interview with the salesperson after the vehicle was sold? I just heard recently, my friend David Cribbs told me about how a dealership does a sold exit interview. In other words, with the salesperson, at the end of each day, they go through the sale of the sold log, and they look at what vehicles are sold, and then they go through what good things came out of that, how they responded, how they handled it, how they made success out of that situation. And then they share those talking points. They share about how this customer came in and they had this particular area, this issue, this problem, this situation, this trade deficit, or they were upside down this much, or there was a challenge in this area, there was a challenge in that area, but we overcame it. There was a learning moment here, and we were able to overcome it by finding the right vehicle, landing them on the right vehicle, and that was based off of me knowing we just took this vehicle in. And start looking at the different things that help make that deal succeed and come together, and then look at how we can implement that on every single deal and keep that on top of mind, awareness, so that when we're speaking to other customers, we talked about this earlier, and that was about getting our people ready, having that sales readiness available, and that sales readiness on high alert. What does that mean, sales readiness? That means that when a customer says something specific, that we're alert, in tune, and we're able to take that because we're ready and we're listening. We're able to take what they say and then run with it to be able to make it come together. Having a good alert and sales readiness so that we can maximize opportunities. And then also looking at the deals that maybe didn't come together, not just to save a deal, but also maybe it was a the situation where there was a real negative situation that took place, and why did it go sideways? Why is it that didn't make it into the box? Why didn't they get into finance? Why is it that they didn't take a test drive? What happened? And you start talking about each step in each area, and then you use it for coaching moments. Look at customer challenges. What steps were taken to secure their commitment? What steps did we miss? What value points resonated most with them? Why was it that the light bulb turned on and they said, let's do it. All right, let's go forward. Was it because of how we said what we said? Was it because, what was it? And we start looking at these areas and we start looking at these things. Maybe there were missed opportunities to position our product against a competitor when they said, well, we're also looking at this vehicle too. Maybe we missed an opportunity to really position ourselves in a better position of value versus that vehicle, versus that competitor, versus their service product, versus their warranty, versus their maintenance program, versus their standard safety features, or so on and so forth, whatever it may be. Giving you and I an opportunity to incorporate into competitive intelligence training. Competitive intelligence training. You want to be able to give your people the advantage, the competitive advantage, and train them on how to maximize those opportunities. Okay? And so we have to be able to take these moments, these coaching moments, examining the win and loss moments of the deal and the interactions with our customers, and turn them into actionable tips for future sales opportunities. That's what we need to do. All right. So another thing that we can do to help create, and increase our team's readiness is get them to be aware of how it feels to be the buyer. In other words, have them put themselves into the buyer's shoes. All right. And let them go through the buying experience. Let them be the one who's taking on the role of the buyer. And how do you do this? Okay, there's a couple of different ways, but number one, first and foremost, you can become, you can purchase a vehicle from the place you work at. Go through the entire purchase of, front to back, and you might even find that there might be some holes in the process. You might even find that there may be some things and gaps that are taking place that, as a buyer, you understand, and you would be ticked off if this was another, customer that you're helping. I understand why the customer's upset. I waited way too long, and I work here. You know what I mean? Put the salespeople and yourselves into the buyer's shoes. So what happens is training tends to focus heavily on product details and messaging, often at the expense of explaining the needs and challenges of the buyers, okay? And so what we need to focus on is we need to focus on understanding the buyer challenges, understanding the buyer's perspective, and understanding the buyer's considerations, okay? Make the buyer's journey a more prominent part of sales training when you bring somebody on board. Let them experience, both for new hire onboarding and learning reinforcement for existing sales teams, let them experience what it feels like to walk onto your lot or to go into a car dealership that you've never been to before. As a matter of fact, have them go to a dealership and locally in person and walk on the lot and go from the start all the way up to a write-up like they're going to do a deal. I mean, let them go through every single thing and then make sure that they have kind of like a progress report or something they can come back with explaining different things that they were able to look for in those different experiences. So have them go, to a dealership locally, on the lot, in person, on the phone, online, submitting a different lead or whatever it may be, and ask them, as well as service too. Even when it comes to your service advisors and your service experience, you should have your service advisors call or even go to another store for service to get an oil change or something like that, so they can experience what it seems like and what it feels like as a customer. as somebody who's in the shoes that they work with and help every single day. And then you can now be a little bit more empathetic to what they're going through as a customer. So when you're in those situations, how did you feel? Think about what took place. How did you feel? Were you let down by the experience? Were you overwhelmed by the experience, by the customer service? Were you underwhelmed by the experience in the customer service? Was the sales rep knowledgeable, or they didn't know anything? They had no clue what they were talking about. Were they respectful? Did they speak clearly? Speak too fast, too slow, mumble? All these different things. Were they professional, or were they using slang? Were they cursing, smoking, vaping, all these different things in front of you? What was the experience, and how did it taste? What was the taste that it left in your mouth? What was the odor that you smelled when you walked away from it? Did it stink, the experience? Or was it okay? Was it good? Was it positive? Was it negative? Was it just blah? I mean, what was it? Put yourself in the position of the buyer and feel the experience. How did you feel? Because you may not remember everything they made you, that they said to you, or that they may have said to you, but you probably remember the feeling you had. Was it good? Was it bad? Was it just boring? I mean, what was it? Think about it. Because you don't want your people to have to deal with the same type of experience if it was bad. And so you can make those adjustments. Okay, another thing here is highlight industry trends and news. Okay, highlight industry trends and news. Here's some different websites you can go to help your team stay in the know or be in the know about certain things. Okay, automotivenews.com, autonews.com. Okay, CBT News. Okay, carbiztodaynews.com, Edmunds.com, KBB.com. WeWorkForYou.com, which is a B2B autotrader.com. Manufacturer websites, back-end sites and tools that are given to you internally within the dealership. Comparison tools, okay? However we deliver the continuous education to the team, incorporating outside perspectives into training is important. You need to get different perspective from different angles, from different third parties, from different ways that you can highlight specific areas of focus and positive impact towards making the deal move forward. It reminds your people also that the profession is continually changing all the time, and it helps encourage them to stay up to date. For example, I just printed this up today from CBT News. This is Dale Pollack on the new map for the used car business right here. Okay, he talks about what does it look like for 2020 and beyond when it comes into new car business. And this is just a great article. Read it, get into it. Let your people see what does it look like it's going to trend to be when it comes to the used car market with COVID and everything that's happened so far. Okay? Utilize and maximize these industry trends and news resources. All right? Another thing is practice responding to objections. All right? Practice responding to objections. And buyer objections, that's a part of what we do. We know that they're going to object to certain areas. We know that they're going to push back. We know that they're not going to just lay down all the time. Okay, 2% of sales happen on the first contact. Maybe we're going to get that 2% every now and then, right? But we also understand that how we handle objections and common objections are going to help us either move deals forward or stop deals from moving forward. So we need to ensure that salespeople have mastered key skills by giving them the ability to practice with one another and not just on the buyer. Okay, we don't want them just to practice on people. Okay, whether it's through an in-person role play or an assessment tool in Auto Dealer University or anything like that, we need to reinforce training content and how to maximize and overcome and rebut objections, common objections that we deal with and experience every day on the phone, okay, on the lot, on the showroom, in negotiations, on the test drive, during the walk around, all these different areas. So make sure you're spending time by going through these areas and maximizing the role play and the pushback and the go through of what it would sound like if I was a customer and I said this, then let them say it. Don't let them tell you what they would say. So many times I see that. I see salespeople go, well, I would say this. I'd say, well, this, and this, and that's how I would say it to them. No, don't tell me how you're going to say it to them. Say it to me. Say it to me like I'm them. And let's go ahead and do it. And if you trip up, don't say, well, and then I would add this, and then I would add that. Don't do that, because you wouldn't say that in the middle of a customer's conversation and say, well, and then I would say this to you, and then I would say that. No, you would just say it. So you have to practice, okay? The next thing is a sales process deep dive. I talked about the salesperson's success was based off of him knowing the sales process of the store that he worked at. We have to remember that sales process and methodology training should be focused on often. We need to make sure our people understand there is a process, okay? There is a road to the sale. There is things that need to take place in order for us to put this thing together. And so the process, if it's followed, will produce the product when we do it. And so we have to remember that there is the meet and greet with the customer. There is establishing the common ground and commonality. There is selection of the vehicle. There is the feature presentation. There is the demo ride. There is the driving the trade and looking at the trade. There is the tour of the dealership, the write-up in the deal, the TO, the delivery, the follow-up. There's all these things that happen. But if we don't go through those steps, then they don't know those steps exist. They're not going to know where they are in the deal, and if they missed something in order for the deal to come together or fall apart. So if we don't reinforce the actual process and make sure we do a dive into the process, they're not going to know how to be able to know whether or not that opportunity was missed or could have been maximized or whatever it was, and how to go from one stage to the next. So we got to make sure we're keeping our people aware of what that is. You know, go ahead and ask your salespeople. Everybody go ahead and, as a salesperson, if you're watching, what's your process? If you can't tell me, then you need to figure it out, because this is going to help you increase your readiness to close deals. Okay, these are talking about training and coaching perspectives to increase your team readiness. Okay, and here they are again. Number 1, make assessments part of your sales training. Number 2, examine win-loss moments. Number 3, put yourself in the buyer's shoes. Number 4, highlight industry trends and news. Number 5, practice responding to objections. Number 6, go deep in your sales process. Do a deep dive in the sales process. You start looking at these areas, guys. This is going to keep you sharp. It's going to keep you aware. It's going to get your sales readiness on point, and you're going to have a high awareness of it, and it's going to be on high alert, so that when you speak to customers, man, you're going to be able to lock them down and close that deal. So I hope you guys like this week's Workout Wednesday, and we look forward to seeing you next Wednesday. Have a great week.